think we're recording. Let's see what we're cooking with here. This is Blackhawk's new offering, the Velocity Core. Brakes, good magnets, size loops, loose lines. They can get sucked back into the propeller. I don't like that. Yeah, I seen a guy lose the end of a finger one time. He had that long line and the prop hit it and it whipped it so hard it sliced the end of his finger off. What a mess. Doing like a little daisy chain on it. Hey, that's probably plenty. Oh, oh. Primed, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Blackhawk Talon 190. First time to ever fly a Blackhawk, so we're gonna find out what it's all about. Got some weight to it now. Fuel, baby. Alrighty, clip into this beast. The trim settings are off a bit, so we always check that on our pre-flight.
That would be considered neutral. That's the middle.
I just want them even.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing. See, I'm a right-handed throttle guy. I got to use different hands on the controls to.
Right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed, and I can do both styles. I've practiced each one.
I prefer a throttle left hand, and if I need to throw my reserve, I could, because I'm right-handed.
See, I wear my reserve in the center, so I can grab it with either hand. Because if something happens where maybe one hand is incapacitated, let's crank this thing up. Clip. Core 25. Hover mode.
He's gonna hover.
Gusty today, man. Totally gnarly.
Woo! Did you see that? That was a thermal.
I'm almost taking some collapses. Like I'm having to actively fly the swing and make sure it's legit, you know?
Yeah, there's. I would have never gone up in this amount of wind, but like I say, he's been doing it a while, free flying and everything else. Just have to start calling him Big Balls O' Glee. It's enough wind where he may not be able to land real easy, keeping him up.
Got clouds moving, wind shifting, sun shining, triggering some thermals. Everything's wiggling in the wind. So the wing flies pretty good. I really like it. The motor is, I would say it has about 80% the power of the Nitro 200, which has about 80% power of the Moster 185. I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk through this high wind landing. It all starts with a good approach. I'm in a good landing configuration. I've got the wings stable over my head. I've checked the windsock out in front of me. As soon as I touch down, I turn around as quick as possible and I kite the wing. Now, if you can't really see it here, but I'm trying to grab the C risers. There's a better shot of it. I actually missed the one on the right 2 or 3 times and I grabbed for it and I finally get it and I disabled the wing quickly. This is something that you should practice before you get out in a hairy situation like this. And even I'm out of practice because I missed the grab 2 times. So practice. It's always good to practice. Definitely not new guy conditions for sure. Oh yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Hey, Kyle Glee.
Cal?
Kyle, yes sir.
Cool, man. I mean, fluid thing in this wind.
Oh, yeah. Hey everybody, we came up here with Rick's unit. Not a good day for beginners, but you know what? We got big balls of glee right here to fly it up for us. I just got lots of experience, that's all. You work your way up to this slowly. It's not like you just dive into something like this. That's it. We appreciate you doing it there, big balls.
So the Blackhawk Talon 190. Hey guys, so the audio was so bad out there in the field that I thought I would bust out the mic out here in the shop and see if we can get a little better review of the Blackhawk Talon 190. The things I liked about it were the throttle. Had a really good bicycle style throttle. Had an E-start on the bottom. There was a situation where I bumped the starter and it, you know, it started to crank because it's in an exposed spot. The starter button was not recessed and hidden, like maybe perhaps some of the different versions I've used. Kill switch was easy to get to. The throttle was quite nice actually, aside from that little thing. Power, it was lacking in power. They label it a 190, but it was less than the 200, less than the 185. I don't think those numbers really have a lot to do with anything in the real world setting. So that's where it fell as far as what I experienced with the thrust. The harness was not all that. I could not just raise my legs and get in it, and I adjusted it and adjusted it and adjusted it. I did a proper hang check. I know how to do these things. It just wouldn't adjust right. There's something about the way it's built that's not exactly right. Not a full neg, but definitely a hard tick in that direction. The geometry of the way the motor flies, you're leaned back, everything's good. And then when you hit the throttle, you get this huge pitching moment. I didn't like that. The Nitro 200 had that, not nearly as pronounced. I would say probably 50% of that you experience with the Nitro 200. This was like a whole step further as far as the amount of motion you get out of going from idle to full power. It would just really stand up on you, and it was almost like it was bucking you. If you just squeeze it and stand it up and hold power, not that big of a deal, but you do get that change. It is definitely worth mentioning it. It's something I did not care for. I believe it could have been designed with a better geometry to prevent that, but I don't know. I didn't design it. I don't know how much it cost. Another man bought this machine. Overall, it seemed to be put together well. It's a brand new paramotor. They're all put together somewhat nice in the beginning. I can't speak to the durability of it. The netting was about average. I'm not totally digging on Blackhawk, but you really notice the negative things. You know, the positive things kind of always go back to the background, but you really notice the negative parts of these paramotors. The stuff that really shines are the stuff that's not exactly right versus the stuff that's really good. Nothing was really good about this. Nothing just shined. The weight, it was heavier than, I don't know how much it actually weighs, but it felt heavier than the paramotors that I usually fly. I may be mistaken on that. You might want to check back on that. The wing was much better than the motor. The wing handled really nice. I was overloaded on that wing in this situation because the winds were insane, and I wanted the smallest wing on the field to fly. There were some bigger ones there. I flew those the next day, and they did really well. The Velocity Core, I believe it's called, head and shoulders above the edge for sure. Still a beginner wing, still squarely in that category, but definitely they were right to get a better wing than the edge. I believe you could get the agility that you desire with the safety, and I believe that's what the Core offers. It felt pretty safe. I was in some really wonky air and I was able to prevent some collapses. And even had I had the collapses and let them propagate, I believe it would have popped right back open and been just fine. So the wing was much better than the motor in my opinion. Oh, the motor. There was something else I was going to mention about the motor. I don't know. I remember what it was. The motor had a bit of torque to the right. It was not enough to be of concern, but it was there and I wanted to mention it. Because it was lacking in power, it wasn't a huge factor, but there didn't seem to be as much torque compensation there. That was the thing I forgot to mention. Just thought I'd throw that in there for completeness' sake. Completeness? It's a word. I just invented it. It's a real word now. I put it on the internet.
Just like yonder?
And it's there. Like yonder. That's a word also. Completeness. 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 New word. Write it down. In a nutshell, that's it. That's kind of what I felt testing out this machine out there in those raunchy conditions. That's how I feel about it. So I had the opportunity to fly the machine. I did enjoy flying it. It was a Paramotor. But those are some of my thoughts just after a couple of days playing around with it. Yeah, if you're into that sort of thing and you can handle those things, it may be the machine for you. So that's Kylo's thoughts on it. Much love, everybody. Kyle out.